Hi everybody! This is Jpar and this is the We Promise Nothing crew. And this is the new review. And this week we are going to review the new Ghostbusters 2016. On the show this week we have Zube, we have Myles, and we have Da Boo. Say hello to the audience, everybody.
Greetings and salutations.
Hello, everybody.
Heyo.
And as I said, we are going to be doing the new Ghostbusters movie, 2016, the one with Melissa McCarthy, and I just had it all in front of me here. Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones.
Why is Leslie all the way down there?
I don't know. They gave her the Winston Zedmore effect, apparently, on IMDb. Ayo! Anyways, Ghostbusters 2016, released by Sony Columbia Pictures. This one is PG-13, folks, but a heck of a lot tamer than the one that came out in 84 with its PG rating. This one ran an hour and 56 minutes. Comedy, fantasy, sci-fi, adventure, thingamajobby, and of course is adapted. It's a reboot. Yes, confirming it is a reboot of the original Ghostbusters 1984. Now we're gonna get into this. We're first gonna do the non-spoiler portion of this. So we're gonna do that for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna give you a rating, and then we're gonna do the spoilers. We're gonna flip over in the spoiler city, and we are gonna tell you what we really hate and really like about this movie. So first impressions, Zube.
Ghostbusters. Well, this movie, I seen it like on the opening weekend, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was worried at the beginning because of what the trailers showed, that this might be some sort of quasi reboot or reboot hybrid. Thankfully, it's a reboot, and it went over, and I really liked the minor things that happened in the movie that were kind of not very noticeable throughout the, like, for just a casual fan, but for the fanboys and the fangirls of the original, that they caught onto that, and we'll probably get into that in Spoiler City. But I definitely like the Easter eggs and the little winks and nods that they had in the movie throughout.
Yeah, I did notice that there was a lot of Easter eggs and winks and nods. I found there was a lot of scenes that looked like they were pulled right out of like the first Ghostbusters movie, or even the second Ghostbusters movie. I found they borrowed a lot of those scenes. And my first impressions, what do you want me to say? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And, I'm sure there's a lot of people who might say the same, but let's find out what the rest of this table thinks. Myles.
I actually enjoyed it. I was, maybe because I went in with really low expectations, because I heard all the hype. The IMDb just killed it, saying that men hated it, women loved it.
That made me a little bit worried when I heard that.
Me too, and I know we're all dreading.
It made me think there was a lot of like girl-centric jokes in it, and there actually wasn't that many.
Yeah, it wasn't really feminist or girl power or whatever. It was just four people that got together. A couple of them knew each other, worked together, and then they met one in the subway. But yeah, honestly, it was a really good movie. I was pleasant, like Zubert said, I was pleasantly surprised how much I was laughing throughout the entire movie.
There's a lot of nice little chuckles, nice little jokes. It was a lot of tongue-in-cheek, and it was good. I came out feeling good about it. Well, what about you, Boo?
Same general impression. I the only thing that worried me was that it came down to it. It was just one of those movies that just was meh. You came out of it knowing that you were satisfied with something pleasantly surprising, like you guys had put it. I just love the fact that because there was a combination of a lot of little nods to the originals, but at the same time giving it their own spin. I was kind of hoping they would do that, which is well done. But at the same time, I kind of feel like they didn't quite do the whole passing of the torch properly, and I think that's part of the reason why I have a harder time maybe digesting this as not so much the reboot that they want us to take it as. Again, I have to admit the energy that these ladies actually have, not only as actresses, but as the characters themselves in the movie. I felt like the characters were very, very well written to coincide against each other. It could have easily have been that one, had her 5 minutes of shine here and there, and then that would have been it. No, it was a matter of each of them fed off of each other with each of their lines. And again, the writing was well enough to know that these 4 actresses actually had something different to bring than our original 4 Ghostbusters from years ago. So I think for me, that's part of the reason why I was that much more impressed, because it was something new, but at the same time still enjoyable, because I was ready to break it apart, to an extent.
And I'm going to be 100% honest. I was going in totally expecting not to like this at all, especially for how much love I have for the original 84 and that cast. I just and it still rings true as nothing can beat that one. Nothing's going to be as good as the original. But, we couldn't get a Ghostbusters 3, but, this is actually pretty decent. Now maybe we should go into our ratings for it, and just a quick reason as to why you're giving it that rating, not getting into too many spoilers. Zube, did you want to start us off again?
All right, I'm gonna swing for the fences. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5, and
You really like this.
I'm holding back right now. A lot more detail on Spoilerville, but the quick response here is that the only reason why I didn't give it a 5 out of 5, 2 reasons. The new take on the original theme song, terrible.
Yeah, but that doesn't really lessen your enjoyment of the movie, though, does it?
They played it in the middle of the movie, and it kind of sucked.
Oh, yeah, but they played the original at the beginning of it,
which I loved.
Yeah,
I loved.
That's fan service.
For sure, and that's one of the things I loved about the movie. But the other part was the trailers. If the trailers actually were done properly, they wouldn't have had all this negative thing. Besides the sexist comments, which we can't control that. People don't be idiots, but
can't stop sexist from being sexist, I guess.
Yeah, but basically the trailers, like Kevin Smith said it, if the trailers were done properly, then it would be a lot better.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
So you're saying because of the trailers, it wasn't as well received as it could have been? Is that what you're saying?
That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And Myles, your rating for this?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, that's pretty high as well. Not extremely high, but...
I would have given it a 4 if they would have had the balls to do something that I can't talk about because it's a spoiler.
So when we get into spoilers, we will talk about that.
Yes. There's 2 things for me, but it was more what happened in the movie and what could have happened in the movie.
Yeah.
So, a 3.5.
All right, still fairly good. And Boo?
I kind of feel like everyone's being more generous than I guess I thought I was being generous.
Well, you haven't heard mine yet.
Honestly, I struggled with this, but I still feel like I could only give it at the most a 3 out of 5. And I think it had more to do with the fact that I didn't have as much of love and passion for the original Ghostbusters to try to compare with this one. And I kind of feel like that's where most of this love is coming from you guys, because I feel like there's even more to kind of prove itself. I have to, excuse me, I have to admit the...
Don't get sick on us again.
Yeah.
The actresses, each individually, I think are part of the reason why I really love this movie more than I had anticipated. So again, without going into spoilers, I felt like each actress brought something refreshing to this particular storytelling of the Ghostbusters, and I think because of it is the only reason why this even got a reasonable rating. Mm-hmm. The rating of the story, well, let's face it, I felt like they were just revisiting the original story, just tweaking it a little bit to their advantage. You can't say that there's much more different to it.
No.
The effects, you expect it to be there for obviously a movie of this sort. But in the end, I think it just got down to it, and it was character driven, same as the original.
The original, yeah.
And because of it, it was the characters that I was really paying close attention to, and because of the actresses, they did a great job with the casting. That was the only reason why this movie kept me entertained.
Right, it was definitely the actresses that kind of sold the movie for me too, and it was the interaction and the jokes between them. Jokes not as adult as the original, which I would have enjoyed more, and that kind of lessened my enjoyment of this. I knew it wasn't, I had a feeling it wasn't going to have that adult humor that the original had. This kind of had more of a cutesy humor. There was a couple of adult jokes, but not too many. It's going to be a 3 for me, just like you, Boo. It's nowhere close to being as good as the original, but this isn't a bad Ghostbuster movie. There's a lot of fan service in it. There's a lot to like about this movie. It's not even a terrible movie. It's there's definitely things I'm going to pick apart about it in the spoiler parts, but I'm going to tell you why it gets that 3. I'm really going to tell you why, but it's a 3, and that means it's a movie that you should still sit down and watch. And if you're expecting bad reviews, then I guess you're going to have to go listen to someone else, because we did not maybe shit on this movie the way you were expecting us to.
Well, considering the original Ghostbusters review that we did and how adamant you were, Jpar, with not seeing this movie.
I didn't want to see this movie.
So
and I was still going
win.
to the movie, and I still didn't want to see this movie.
Yeah.
But because because we had so many views on that video, we pretty much didn't have a choice but to go see this movie now.
It was funny, guys, watching him squirm in his seat as we tried to force him to get into the goddamn theater.
I think I griped and moaned the whole time until we finally got... Even when I was sitting down, I can't believe I'm coming to see this thing. But I'm glad that I did, because now I get to voice my opinion. I get to tell you guys what I think about it without giving you a biased opinion, without even seeing the damn thing first, which is what a lot of people have done. At least I can give you an educated opinion about it now. So let's flip over into Spoiler Town. Now, this is the part of the show where we're going to dig into the movie, what we really liked and what we really hated about it. Well, why don't you start us off, Boo?
You want to start with me? You know what, though? If there's anything specific I can really talk about, it was the way they brought the ghosts back to life for me. Because every time each new ghost brought to the scene, in their own individual scenes, they were brought to light almost the same way the originals were. Again, it was almost like taking the scenes right out of the original movies, but giving it their own twist. One of my favorites, actually, is very much the showing of Slimer.
Ugh.
Because Slimer was very much one of those iconic characters we had to see. My gripe about it, however, why the hell did we need a female version?
Why did
really?
we...
I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it. The women took over for the men for the Ghostbusters. Done. Got that. Now suddenly you needed to go one step further and give me a female Slimer just to make it more official? I'm sorry, but I mean, I think that was a little too much. I would have been perfectly fine with just an reintroduction, so to speak, of a Slimer, and then just kind of shove him aside. I didn't really need to get an in-depth, perspective on this new character. He's the same character as before. He hasn't changed.
But he did play a key role in the end of the movie, though.
He did, but that's part of the reason why I felt like even if I took out the female Slimer, that ending should not have changed anyway.
That was just part of the joke.
I could still visualize him driving the car out of the scene like he did in the first place, and then he comes back with not only a female version of himself, but with an entire crew of ghosts. Suddenly they all wanted to go on a road trip.
He has a party all of a sudden. Yeah, party. Yeah. Apparently Slimer's the party animal out of the ghosts.
Yeah. So again, the humor behind it all was all great. I have nothing to gripe about that, but I mean, really, you had to force a female Slimer on me? I'm like,
I feel that whole Slimer thing was forced to begin with. Like, even the first scene with Slimer when he came out of that frickin' hot dog stand, which, by the way, was a throwback to the original movie.
Yeah. Yep.
But when he came out, and then I didn't like the way he looked, first of all. And then when he got in the car and he drove off, I'm like, oh, get out of here. I'm like, okay, good, whatever. That was stupid. It's over. Nope. Comes back with those other ghosts, and they make it 2 times worse with the girl Slimer. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, I was about to give this movie a 3.5 until I saw that bullshit right there.
I will admit, though, I think for me, what really kept me wanting to see the movie entirely was for Kate McKinnon's performance. She was the one that really... She blew me away. I was actually surprised at how every time she had a one-liner on screen, I was worried it was going to get, a little too eccentric, a little too awkward almost. But no, even though no matter how awkward it sounded, it fit perfectly with every scene, It was just to the point where it was just
so she's
the funniest character out of them all.
She was definitely the funniest.
And that's
she's the one that played the Egon character. I'm trying to explain for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and given that we had both Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig to kind of compare with, I mean, those two are pretty big names in the comedy, work field. So I kind of feel like that made sense that she fit right alongside those two, but I didn't expect her to steal a lot of the limelight for me. That's the one thing I didn't expect.
I will agree with you there, Boo. I was snickering at her lines more than anything else. It was her character that kept me really interested. She's the one that really kept it going for me. I mean, the other girls were good, but she was definitely my favorite out of the 4 girls. And Chris Hemsworth was also hilarious.
Oh, yes.
He just played a dumbass, like a hunk with no brain, basically, is what he was. Oh, man, he had some good... funny lines in there too. So I mean, the comedy between those two characters, not between those two characters, but the lines that those two characters delivered, I found really kept it going for me because I thought those two characters were just exceptionally funny. What'd you guys like? What's really stuck out for you?
Yeah, the comedy, the running jokes, the actual Abbott and Costello type of jokes they had at the beginning. like the who's on first, who's on second type of jokes with that scene where the guy that saw the first ghost was outside and like Mr. I forget the guy's name off the top of my head, but Mr.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll just say for the guy's name, Mr. Bagley Jr. He actually died 15 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
like no.
And who's this guy?
Who's this guy? And
Oh, it's his son.
That's his son.
It's like, well, clearly that's who I was talking about.
Yeah, like small little jokes like that, and yeah, for sure, Chris Hemsworth was laughing. Like I was laughing so hard with like the glasses joke, and then the saxophone picture jokes.
Yes.
That has to be my funniest line of the whole movie. No offense, but why no glass in your glasses? Oh, it's because they were just getting dirty, so I took them out. Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah.
Actually, the first really funny scene where they're looking on the computer, ain't no bitch is gonna bust ghosts.
That's kind of like a
A play on the trolls.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's what
they're
I'm trying to
being
say,
smart about it, right?
Yeah, and like if you got, and also the Easter eggs and like the little one lines like who you gonna call, and they have that commercial playing in the background.
Yeah.
Like that's
There
that's
was a
nice
lot
too.
of. There definitely was a lot
Ghost
of.
hoppers. Yeah, and these guys give us a bad name.
Didn't Dan Aykroyd also leave in the cab saying, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts"? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting how they threw that around a lot.
That was kind of a corny cameo because he was like, "How did he know that there was a Class 5 free-floating vapor or whatever?" You know?
That's
weird.
Exactly, because I was thinking like, because that was part of an international trailer before the movie was released. I'm like,
And that's
crap,
what
they're
made
doing,
people
like,
think that he was his actual
That's what I thought too.
Ray Stantz character from the original.
Yeah, and like actually, Lip and I were talking about after the movie because I saw it with Lip on opening weekend, and we were thinking, okay, basically want to rate like all the
cameos?
Yeah, from 5 to or 4 down. Like and basically Dan Aykroyd's cameo was the worst. Was actually the worst. Like we were kind of like. Kind of iffy about the cameos in the first place, and
the cameos were really predictable.
even at the end. Even at the end, though.
What's the?
That's Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I predicted that one too.
That.
Did you really?
I like them all, but I predicted every single one. I think,
And also Ernie
except
Hudson.
for maybe the Bill Murray one, I didn't predict. The Ernie Hudson one, I called that one from a mile away.
Yeah, basically.
He's like, "Oh, here's my uncle." He's like, "Oh, I wonder who it's gonna be."
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of the ending, did anyone stay for the end credit scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
we all did.
okay. Great. Like,
So yeah, I guess they plan on going forward with this one. They mentioned spoiler alert. They you're listening to the spoilers already, so it's too late.
Yeah.
They mentioned Zool.
yes.
Yeah. So I guess if they're gonna go forward with this one, it's gonna be about Gozer and Zool. Now I guess this is what I'm getting out of this. They kind of brought this idea of like kind of like other dimensions or like a ghost dimension where the ghosts come from and stuff like that. So can this easily be said that this is just an alternate timeline or an alternate dimension to what already happened in the original Ghostbusters?
Do you think they'll walk down that road?
I don't know. I really don't know. I heard Dan Aykroyd saying some pretty crazy things, so I'm not sure. I don't know if they'll ever do that. I think this movie did well enough that they'll just carry forward with this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do a Star Trek thing where they have to go back to the old characters or like go back to previous characters or anything like that. A cross-dimension time travel thing. Hopefully not. But I don't know if like. I'm thinking about this. Yeah, like the end credits scene was one hint that there's going to be a continuation, but also at the beginning, the production company is called Ghost Corps.
Yes, that's another thing I thought about. So almost like they wanted to go the Marvel route, where they're making and Star Wars route, the way Disney's doing them, where they're making a franchise of movies, and it's not just one. They got more than one going on at once. So you'll have like maybe another Ghostbusters crew, and then they'll have like a big Ghostbusters movie where they all meet up together, kind of thing.
We'll see though. Like I don't know what this movie's doing at the box office, but
I bet you. Okay, we should almost like place bets on this. Yeah, well, you can fact check it.
Yeah,
There you go. Let us know how it's doing right now, because I don't know, is it doing bad or good? I almost, like, you know what they say, like, bad publicity is still good publicity, so...
Well, how packed was the theater for you? You were there opening...
I was there opening weekend, and it was packed. It was like, except for the lower bowl, which basically I wouldn't blame anybody for paying reserved
So
seats
that
for
means
lower
it's
bowl.
good, then. If it's opening night and it's packed, then, I mean, it does decently well, right? Because
Yeah.
if nobody goes to see it, then...
And speaking of the reviews and everything, check out We Promise Nothing Facebook page. Everybody, Dave Lipple, one of our co-contributors, he posted that IMDb thing that we talked about earlier in the podcast about the ratio of men versus female reviews, and then just disparity. It's eye-opening and really disturbing. Like you were talking about, like how low it was. Like I think it was a 4.5 average for men and 7.5.
Clearly, these are
listen
people.
to what the ratings we just gave.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
our ratings
exactly.
are better than IMDb's average.
Exactly.
So,
that's the whole argument we had about Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb before, right? In previous,
Rotten
podcasts.
Tomatoes is. Let's just be honest, it's bullshit. You don't even bother with Rotten Tomatoes. Like, form your own opinion. I find IMDb has a better rating anyways, and it's usually because it is based on
IMDb
viewers.
led us astray. IMDb is the one that said that men hated this movie.
That's right.
And everybody collectively at this table liked the movie.
It still might be a true statistic. Just because they didn't ask us 5 men doesn't mean that it's not a true statistic. I mean, these are probably a lot of guys who didn't even see the movie yet. They're like, oh, fuck that movie. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works. I've never left a review on IMDb. I don't know if you need to prove that you've seen the movie or not.
How are you going to prove it? Show them your
Movie
ticket
stub?
stub?
Yeah.
Nah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
You just
I don't
write a review. That's all it takes. You don't need a prerequisite to write a review on IMDb.
I mean, I think it's safe to say this is a generalization. So if one site says one thing and then another site says something similar, just of a slightly different ratio, I think we can't just turn a blind eye to it. But I will say this, actually, if we're talking about statistics, I don't know if you got it there, Zube, but I do have some numbers here. They had estimated 144 million by the time this movie was out of theaters.
Yep.
On opening day, just in the U.S. alone, they had 46 million cleared. So as of right now, they still have a lot of ground to make, actually, if they're trying to make what they're forecasting. But I honestly don't think it's going to be what they expected. How long do you think it's going to be in the theater for?
Probably another month at the tops.
I'm going to get another 2 more weeks and then it's done because it's
Yeah,
not
it depends.
international.
Yeah, it depends how well it does. If it does shitty, they'll take it out.
Yeah.
If it starts to, steadily decline in ticket sales, yeah, they will pull it before it starts to cost them anymore.
Right.
But you know what? Just by seeing these numbers alone, I would assume they'd be lucky if they can clear 100 million. You know, at this rate, because it's been out for what, almost a week now on already.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a week
actually
now.
8 days.
If we give it another
maybe if more positive reviews come out, people will start to go see it.
Ours, like We Promise Nothing on YouTube. Check us out.
I think they're doing that already, Zube. They're listening to us right now.
That was a weird plug.
But thanks for plugging us in the middle of our own show.
Well, I've something to add on booze. Forbes came out, posted earlier today, which is July 23rd. 8-day total for Ghostbusters is sitting at... Oh, jeez, I lost it now.
Cue the drum roll.
We promise nothing.
Yeah, it's actually at a $71.4 million take right now for the box office total for 8 days. But it mentioned that it's on a decline. It only earned $6.2 million up until today. So, like for the last couple of days before the weekend. So it's on a decline. It's a 63.8% decline from opening.
It usually is a decline after the opening weekend, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If it's an incline, then Christ, something really.
It usually
well.
means that it was like a sleeper, like nobody was expecting much. Then people hear good reviews, and then all of a sudden everyone clamors to go see it. But that usually only happens for like Oscar movies and stuff.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oscar movies suck.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a marketing campaign.
Except for
Yes.
The Revenant, that's your favorite.
Oh, The Revenant. Don't get me started. I was having a good day till now.
Until you mentioned The Revenant.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up because there's not much to argue about here. Let's go around the table and say our favorite thing about the movie. Once again, it doesn't have to be one scene. It could be a person. It could be something that happened about the movie. And also your least favorite part about the movie. Boo, you go first.
Easily my favorite part has to be, once again, I guess the one actress, Kate McKinnon. Sorry, I'm trying to remember her name. But Kate, she's the one that made me want to see it beginning to end. As for what I didn't like, honestly, I think it was that final scene of all the ghosts coming together for the final act. Because not was it just Slimer that was kind of a little annoying. It was the fact that they couldn't be bothered to give me other ghosts. Other than, I guess, what felt like a little bit of a Tim Burton moment. all these ghosts showing up that didn't fit what I thought was going to be a Ghostbusters scene. It felt more like a, Nightmare Before Christmas kind of moment. And I think you had mentioned that during the movie. So, yeah.
Well, just that one ghost in particular, he's got those pants. He's looking like he's wearing like.
Big
Well, yeah, no, but that wasn't just that. It was the way that most of them were rendered.
I know what
It
you
kind
mean.
of felt like it wasn't the Ghostbusters scene that I had expected, right?
My favorite two ghosts were actually the first two ghosts that they had, and then I just found all the ghosts kind of went downhill after that. But you stole the words right out of my mouth. My favorite thing about her is Kate McKinnon. She was my favorite character. Just the way she delivered her lines. Her character was just more interesting than the other girls. Kirsten Wiig was still great. She's still funny. Chris Hemsworth was great, but Kate McKinnon was my favorite character in the movie. And in the comedy between the girls, I mean, that's what held it together, and that's what was my favorite part of the movie. My least favorite part was that goddamn Slimer scene. God, I hated that thing. I was ready. I was there. I was like, okay, this isn't a bad movie. I was leaning on a 3.5, and then they just threw in one too many cheesy scenes, and the Slimer scene just fucking threw it all out the window for me. It's like, oh, fuck you guys. Now you're 0.5 less. So that's right. Keep Slimer out of your next movie, and maybe I'll rate you better. All right, go Zube.
All right, so for me, the best part of the movie was actually, contrary to Boo, was the end part of the movie, especially with Kate McKinnon's character, with those all the attachments throughout the whole movie. Like, yeah, that's part of her character, but like adding on to the proton packs, like from
Proton
the
pack, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. That too. So yeah, the proton
packs.
Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna move on from that. Yeah.
Zoltan! The Zoltan packs, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Those the packs there, and basically all the extra new equipment and them testing it out. That was funny as well, and like the way she was kicking ass, and like all those scenes cinematically went together very well. And I also liked Leslie Jones as a character too. She was really funny. The mannequin closet scene.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, the rock concert part too was funny as well. Like, that's again from the trailers, but again she made it funny. And like the one part that I didn't like about the trailers about the movie that I couldn't say in the first part of our podcast was, I don't know if anyone had this problem here, but when the giant Ghostbuster symbol came to life,
yeah.
I like that take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprise! It's not the bad thing, Jay.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other bad thing besides Slimer, right? But anyways, like all those guys frozen, like in the big John Travolta Saturday Night Live, Mr. Saturday Night type of pose. Basically, they were all underneath that building. And they could have been squashed. They should have been squashed when he,
Oh yeah, when he comes out of the building.
Yeah, because basically he's not like a exo, like he's not like a real ghost where he just floats through everything. Yeah, he's actually breaking buildings around him when he's walking through. He's breaking buildings. So that's just kind of a miss on me.
So you're thinking people should have died. More death.
Well, yeah,
that's what you want.
Besides Bill Murray, because he's the only real death in the movie, right?
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
think about it.
It is.
So,
Did he die? Oh, yeah, that's right. He did.
Out the window.
Yeah.
That was another joke they had. Like the cop was about was what did he show up like right behind Bill Murray and like Patrick Swayze and Ghost? Like I like that.
Oh yeah,
that joke too. So yeah, that was like
that was a weird scene. Anyways, go on.
But yeah, that was like my beef, and that's what, like the real reason why I gave it 4 out of 5. Like the soundtrack, like the new song, the trailer, plus that was my main beef with the movie. The other cameos, I don't know if you guys talked about or saw this too, but the original apartment building from the first one was in the background.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
And also the museum. In the same shot where they were traveling around with the Ghostbuster mobile, they actually passed both those things.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
I spotted that Easter egg. I don't know if anyone else saw
Oh,
that.
that's cool.
No.
Yeah. All right. That's.
We knew the firehouse was in there, but
Oh yeah.
They made that a part of the movie. They don't get it right away, which was kind of funny. They get it at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They had to
hell.
Yeah.
They had to bribe one of the politicians of the city to actually get it going.
So Myles, are you gonna say your favorite and your least favorite? Or you just
I
gonna,
hope so. So my favorite was definitely the dynamics between all the girls, and I think you guys pretty much said everything. Every girl brought something to the show, and Yeah, McKinnon definitely stole every scene she was in. Even when she wasn't talking, and just her mannerisms, her body language.
I agree.
There was one scene where she was dancing, and at first it's like, okay, where's this going? And then she pulls out torches, and she's still dancing. And then the place is on fire, and she's using the fire with the fire extinguisher. I'm like, oh my god.
She's still dancing, and Kirsten Wig's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Put that fire out.
Put the fire out, right?
So yeah, all the girls together, they were really good. So I was really impressed with that. Bad stuff for me was the bad guy. I was hoping when they opened up the journal, there'd be some explanation of how he was making all this stuff, or who was telling him to bring the spirits to the...
Yeah, I was wondering if there was a connection there. Did he just get it all out of the book?
How did he know if I killed myself, now I would be king of all the ghosts? Like, there was just
I think
some
he was just kind of
stuff.
like the evil version of them, kind of, but inspired by her book or something.
I have no idea, but that was kind of left...
Kirsten Wig's character.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that they didn't explain him more, and he was the driving force for the whole movie.
Yeah, well, he was the reason why.
Why were the ghosts coming out?
Also, that was something else I appreciate that they did a different story, but I felt this was a kind of a human bad guy at first, which was something that we never got.
I don't mind that.
Never something that we never got before in Ghostbusters. It always seems like it's a ghost that's the bad guy.
He was a janitor that was bullied, but somehow he was able to make these proton bombs that were bringing ghosts
whatever it was, something that
into our reality, and then he had mirrors.
They explain it because they go on not fault lines, but on lines of some sort. I can't.
The ley lines for the
ley lines. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't enough for me. I needed more. I found that they didn't give him enough development, so that was kind of my biggest gripe. And when they did the Saturday Night Fever pose, I was hoping that they'd have the balls to do more with that scene, like have Chris Hemsworth make them all do something stupid, like all these serious military guys and FBI guys, but they just left it. But then they threw it at the end, and it was just like it was like they did it, but they didn't have the balls to put it in the movie, and they're like, oh, no one watches the credits.
Well, maybe people will think it's... Maybe people would think it was too over the top if they did that.
I think they should have went full bore and just maybe not did dancing, but like stupid crap, like whatever Simon Says. I don't know, but for me that was it for me.
I think I know what you're saying because it was already ridiculous enough.
It was already ridiculous, but then they stopped it. So why did they show you that much? It's like, where are they going with this?
You're right about one thing. You almost expected them to break down into a dance routine.
I thought they were going to do some sort of Michael Jackson Thriller.
I was thinking The Mask.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, The Mask.
Remember The Mask?
Cool.
Yeah, remember he makes all the cops dance? Yeah.
And then he dances off the scene. Like, okay. Other than that, that was it for me. Chris Hemsworth was actually really funny.
All right. Usually we don't... Let's quickly cover the cameos. I don't think we cover them all. So Bill Murray, he was like a skeptic this time. And like you said, he goes to the bunker, and then he dies, and then it's quickly swept under the rug. I thought that was weird. Like, okay, they're not questioning the girls anymore about his death. They're just like, oh yeah, we believe you, and then that's it. I thought that was a little odd. What did you guys think of that one?
I'm surprised that he had the biggest cameo of all of them in the movie.
You really? Why are you surprised? He's probably the one that everyone wanted to see at the least as a cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing. But Bill Murray, the person, versus Bill Murray, the character, I should say, is different. Two different things, because he was so against Ghostbusters in the first place. The third one, right?
He was at first. But then he came around for this movie.
Isn't that why they kind of made him the ghost debunker in this, to make him the bad guy?
That's right. Make him, like the funny irony, right, type of thing. And that's why I'm surprised that he had the biggest role in this case, right? Just because of the backstory that not all the audience will know, but some that follow the whole Ghostbusters saga would probably know.
He was certainly the one that was easiest to point out when he showed up on screen. I will admit that. And I think that's part of the reason why they gave him a little bit more screen time. Yeah. They figured, well, if we're going to do something right with these cameos, we know Bill Murray is going to have the one with probably the best of all the cameos. At least that's the way I would see it.
Yeah. As for Dan, the most star power.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, Dan Aykroyd shows up on screen. I don't think anyone even gave two hoots about him, which is unfortunate because he's one of the original writers of the original series in the first place. So if it wouldn't have been for him, none of this
him and Harold Ramis wrote this.
So I have to admit, I love the fact that they were in the movie. I also hate the fact that they're in the movie because it didn't give them the proper nod to what they had accomplished before these girls came into the scene, and that's part of the reason why I had this grime over that it wasn't a proper passing of the torch.
I totally agree. I would have preferred a more like Ghostbusters 3 official passing of the torch, but
Yeah, like they retire or whatever, and they just have them trained.
so
Yes.
Winston, I say Ernie Hudson's cameo, which ended up being, it was a very simple one, like I said, kind of predictable. Just like Sigourney Weaver came in, she had a fun little cameo with McKinnon's character.
Yeah.
They were awesome together. And who are we missing here? There was a bust of Harold Ramis right at the beginning.
That's which
So he was
I love
kind of
that.
in it, but not really.
Which I
That
love.
was a nod.
I missed that. Damn it.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the
when
movie.
they open the door.
Me and Myles looked at each other right away as soon as we saw
Yeah,
it.
me and Lip called it too. So boo, you suck.
Bam!
Thanks, Zube.
Yeah, in the face.
They made him
In
like
your face!
they made him like a founding person of that university that Kristen Wiig was working in. So they like closed the door, they walked by, and there was the bust.
That's right.
So it
And
was
then
a
that
subtle.
It was very subtle.
Very subtle.
So I would have had to been looking for it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it was there. Like open door, closed door. That's basically it.
Yeah.
I still suck.
Annie Potts.
I wasn't looking for it, and I saw it. Annie Potts, you're right.
Yeah.
And she used the exact line. She's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, which is nice.
And then even later, Chris Hemsworth, who is the secretary to the female Ghostbusters, his machine says later, "Ghostbusters, what do you want?" Because he's just such a lazy schmuck, he doesn't answer the phone himself. It's the answering machine doing it at this point.
Not only is he lazy, but he's inept beyond belief.
Yeah.
Just sits there, they're trying to have a conversation, the phone's ringing, he's just like looking at them like, answer the phone.
And what does he do when he picks up his first phone call? Well, I'm not going to have that conversation.
Yeah. That got crazy fast.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
There's a goat on the loose.
Yeah, that was one of the calls. And apparently there's a goat on the loose. He's like, he has no clue what they're doing.
That was good.
He kind of ends up being like kind of a villain for a part because he's possessed by the bad guy after he dies. So that was kind of weird too. It's like it's a way of having him as a bad guy, but not as a bad guy because he's possessed.
Kind of reminds me of the Rick Moranis character. He's the combination of Annie
Oh,
Potts
yeah.
and Rick Moranis
That's
character.
what I got out of it too, is that it was a nod to Rick's character in the originals.
Yeah, so I think those are the cameos that we're talking about, right? Like,
Yeah, except for Rick Moranis, who didn't and not show up in the movie.
Yeah.
Apparently was not asked to be a part of it. They're like, oh, he just retired. They're just like, eh. But apparently he's like, I don't know if they would have asked, but nobody asked me.
He admitted that?
Well, he didn't say that he would have done it. He just said no one asked him. That's all he said.
It's unfortunate because, they should consider every
But
character
apparently,
from-
and this is something actually I want to mention, because apparently this was something that went on with the first Ghostbusters. Apparently he's also a writing credit to the original Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Rick Moranis with Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, but somehow it seems like Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis kind of pushed him out of the writing credit.
wow.
Did that really happen? Is that maybe why
don't
he
know.
wasn't asked to be in it? Not sure.
I don't know.
Not sure.
Well-
Just hearsay, folks.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Rick actually had a certain appeal to his characters in all the movies he made, right? In the past, right down to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like he has got that certain quality to his characters. I think that he always brings to the screen. Does that have anything to do with what he had helped write in his character?
The actual writing with like the creation of the characters and the writing of the movie, the way that with Dan Aykroyd and
Right.
Harold Ramis. I don't know to what involvement he was, but that's what they say. Once again, just hearsay. Like officially, it's Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, okay.
All right. So is there anything else that you guys wanted to mention before we wrap this up?
Go see the movie.
Yeah,
It's actually
definitely go
good.
see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Don't believe the critics, except for us.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I'm taking my kids. There's actually a lot of positive, like some stories I saw on BuzzFeed and Huffington Post Canada about like kids getting dressed up, boys and girls, in Ghostbusters uniforms, and all this powerful messaging. Like that's great for feminism, but just for entertainment wise, for watching a movie, I think this is one of the better summer movies of the season. So I think, if you want to take your kids with it, go to the movie. Definitely go see the movie.
Well,
So,
considering we're
better
coming
than
off of
Independence Day?
Day, yeah.
Better than
We
Independence
have
Day?
Independence Day and Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Easily better than Independence Day.
Yes.
Easily.
Yeah.
Which had the other Hemsworth brother.
Better than... Did anyone see Warcraft?
No.
I had seen it. I might do a quick review on later, but I would say it's better than Warcraft. But I'm not a Warcraft fan, so maybe that's why. Better than
the
Batman
fans.
versus Superman?
I think I actually gave I might have to look back in the podcast here, but I think I gave Ghostbusters
You never
a
reviewed
better,
Batman and Superman.
I thought we. Oh, okay. Anyways,
So you just have to say yes or no.
You totally stumped me.
Oh, he doesn't want to admit he likes it better than Batman and Superman. I see.
I'm gonna go for it.
See.
Even though I love Superman and Batman, I have to say Ghostbusters is better than Batman vs Superman.
There you go. That wasn't so hard now, was it?
I'm sort of go cry in the corner now.
I'm going to happily disagree, but that's only. I preferred Batman versus Superman over Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was enough to keep me entertained. I think the other one though was more of an impact of a story. Ghostbusters didn't do much of an impact for me. It was just there. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So that's the way I see it.
It didn't have as much depth.
And let's face it, there was more riding on Batman vs. Superman. I personally feel Ghostbusters still had a lot of pressure put on it. But, I mean, with the level of detail that needs to go into a movie like Ghostbusters is not the same caliber as that as Batman vs. Superman. Especially since we're talking two separate universes in one movie colliding, where Ghostbusters is just one single universe.
All Ghostbusters had to do is have a couple catchphrases or a couple familiar faces or lines, and that's it. Batman vs. Superman had huge canon. Huge fan service.
So once again, I think we said this when we watched the Ninja Turtles movie. Not as much that it has to live up to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just has to be a lighthearted comedy, and because we expected the opposite, like we expected Batman and Superman to at least be good or, awesome, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you guys still enjoy it, but you could still say it could have been a heck of a lot better. And we expect a lot out of it, did not deliver, whereas we expect nothing out of Ghostbusters, this new Ghostbusters, and we get something, which means we actually get more than what we bargained for, and we actually enjoyed it in this case.
Yeah, well said, Jay.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is the We Promise Nothing crew. This has been the new review, and this is Jpar signing out, but wait. Follow us on Twitter. We Promise Nothing. Drop the G. You can also follow us on Instagram. Where can they find us on Instagram, Zube?
That would be We Promise Nothing with the G.
Oh, and you could also like us on Facebook. And if you like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe this video. Now I will say, this is Jpar signing out.
This is Zube seeing you on the other side.
Myles leaving the building.
And Boo going bye-bye.
And if you disagree with anything that you heard on the show today, you can leave a comment below. But remember, we promise nothing. Good night.